everybody, and welcome to another show of Khoisan Talks. I am Sabiha, and I am one of the co-hosts on the channel. We are a group of two Khoisan women, and we discuss our beliefs, spirituality, what being a Khoisan is to us, and how it applies to the modern world. I would now like to introduce my guest, Jessica.
Good evening, people. Good evening, my good people around the world. I wanted to say grand rising, but I will just say peace in to everybody. First of all, I want to introduce myself. My name is Jessica. I'm from Namibia. Most welcome to our show. Thank you, Sabiha, for tonight, for making it possible again. Thank you to our God for allowing us to be here tonight. Thank you.
It's
Back
interesting
to you.
that you, God, as always, as usual, Khoisan and God have always had a relationship. We've always understood the relationship between us and God. And so in modern day, when we come to the Abrahamic religions, as they call it, as I've said before, it was easy for us to just fall into these religions because since beginning, the Khoisan has always believed in the one supreme God, the great one in the
Yes,
sky.
yes,
Last week we were talking about Ma'at, and today we will continue, but we want to pay particular attention to the seventh law of Ma'at, um, which I'm going to read for us. So the seventh law of Ma'at says, I have not stolen from God. And when we look at Khoisan and how we live and how our spirituality is and our relationship with the Most High, with God, with the Supreme Being, the Almighty, the Great One in the sky, whatever you call God, um, we've always had, like I said, a relationship where we knew it was us and God. And that is always how we live. And so,
yes,
for example, when still today, those who still live the indigenous life, those who are in the Mahko land where most of the Khoisan eventually got driven into. If you visit these tribes, these people, if they take something from the soil, from the earth, they will take some hair, pull it out, and then bury it as
yes,
a thank you, as a payback to God. And so everything was always don't steal from God. When I look at the seventh law of Ma'at, don't steal from God, that is how, or that is what I think about in Khoisan terms in our spirituality.
yes, yes. I also want to add something on that. Um, like when we were young, when we go for walks and stuff, when you pick up a 10 cents or a dollar, you will make a sign on the ground, on the soil, and then you will spit on it.
Mm. And
That was our way to say thank you.
yes, and so the spit probably I would think represents a part of ourselves that we
Yes,
give, recognizing that this is the
yes.
spirit or the entity or the person that
It's
received
me.
the.
Yes,
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 yes. Interesting. Um, when I was small, uh, I say this in every video. I am Muslim, but Muslims and Christians have always lived side by side in Khoi areas. And my Christian friends, when a coin fell on the ground or when they saw a coin on the ground, they would pick up the coin and make a cross.
yes, yes,
Would pick up and make a cross and give thanks. to the Lord. Um, but when I look at today's society, Jess, and how much we consume and how much we take and how very little we give back, it is understandable to me why the world is so out of balance, so out of sync, because we consume so much and we take so much without giving anything back. So Koi
Yes.
believes whatever the great one in the sky has blessed you with, you have to give an offering back. Um, whether it is with prayer, whether it is with self, like picking off the hair, whether it is slaughtering a sheep and then distributing the
Yes.
meat amongst the people. The Khoi have always given back, meaning we do not steal from God because we understand that God is the supreme being that gives us. We get our rain through God, we get our food through God, our families through God. Um, and so our tribes, as if people don't know about Khoisan, I would encourage you to go and look at a few videos and read up on how we lived. What me and Jess are discussing will maybe fall in place better the more you read about Khoi and how we lived.
Yeah.
Because harmony with nature, almost similar to the North Americans. If you look at the American Indian tribes, how they live, and they are also a First Nation like us. Um, People know about them more than they know about us, but our beliefs and our structures are very similar. So we lived in uh, always gratitude to God, giving back, not stealing from
Yes.
God. I
Yes.
understand.
Yes. Um, I have a question I would like to ask you about the giving back and about when one doesn't give back. I believe God takes in sevenfold. Can you please elaborate more on that?
It's interesting that you that this number 7 comes up because as we are recording today, today is the 7th day. It's the 25th, but 5 plus 2 makes 7 of the
Yes.
7th month, 2023. And if you
Wow.
add 2023 up, it makes a 7. So 777. And
Yes.
we are doing the 7th law of Ma'at. And
Yes.
um, and what did you say about 7? Just repeat that for
I
the audience.
I ask. I believe if we just take and take, God will come and take sevenfold. If
Mm,
we don't give back to whatever we receive from
yes,
wherever. So I
yes.
want you to please elaborate for me. I also want to know more
Mm,
about that. How
mm.
does it go about? Maybe you can please elaborate for us more.
If I understand what you're asking me, then you are wondering how the law works of
Yes, please.
sevenfold. How
Of
does the law work?
sevenfold. Yes, please.
So, 7 is those who study numerology. I am a novice still learning about numerology. Um, 7 is the God cycle. So, there's 7 days in a week. A woman gets her menstrual cycles for 7 days. There's always a pattern of 7 being either a season or a period.
Yes,
And,
yes,
and so 7 is seen as um, a universal number. The universe almost, right? There's 7 planets in our solar system. So 7 is always in there. And if you don't give back, now in Islam, there are many verses in the Quran. I practice Islam and I read the Quran as my guide. So in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, um, and men must give back. from which I have given. Give back from which I have given. And that is something that Khoi has always done. Like I said, if we go into nature and we take something from nature, we shall take of ourselves and repay back. If you do not do this, it is as if you are violating God. You are taking, because we we are given to give. We are given
Yes.
from God to give.
Yes.
And if you don't do that, that means you've now stolen from God. And then the seven unfolds. I don't know
Yes.
how exactly seven goes, but it
Yes.
may
No.
seven, because seven is a cycle that keeps on repeating itself in the
So you can,
universe.
for instance, um, it's just an example. For instance, how I understand it. God can either come and take it within 7 hours, or 7 days, or 7 years.
Mm. But it will happen in a sequence of seven,
Yes.
whether it's days, hours. Wow.
Yes.
Mm. And the seven number, the seven cycle, is this something that they talk about in Namibia? Where did you
Well,
hear? Because I'm not
for
familiar.
I once I like to research on some things. It's not that I will research most of the time, but when I do, I once researched numbers.
Mm,
What the significance is with numbers.
mm,
Because there was a time in my life that I keep on seeing continuous numbers like 444, 666, or just 5 sevens.
mm.
Number plate or billboard.
Yes.
Then I got curious. So for me, look up, I went to do research on numbers. And I can remember the number 7 means perfection. It's a
Mm.
godly number.
Godly number. Right, right.
The number 8 is infinity,
Mm. Abundance, infinite. Yes.
abundance. Yes. So that's how I know about numbers. But here in Namibia, I don't think my people are familiar with
But
numerology.
where did you get that specific saying from? That God will take in seven folds. I've not heard it before.
I I speak. I speak to
Ah,
God. I speak to
ah.
God. And I get these. It's I've just heard recently that it's called downloads.
Yes, yes.
So I would call it revelations,
Mm.
because for me it was a revelations that has been opened up to me. But recently I understand also that it's called downloads. I've never
Mm.
knew that, and that's how I will I will get it, and I will remember it. And if I don't remember it, it will come back to me again a
Yes,
certain time.
yes.
So some things I write down.
Mm.
Sometimes the great spirit wakes me up
Yes,
and encourages me to write. So I would do scripting. What people know script, I will do scripting. And then I will go back to that specific book or specific page after a certain time, and it will, the moment I write it down, I will close the book and I will go on with my life. And after a few weeks, months, when I go back to it, I will just like remember it. I mean, I will
yes.
just like, it would be so significant for me to read it
Mm.
over again.
Mm.
So, about numerology, about the numbers, I Haven't heard it in Namibia. As
No,
I
I
have
understand.
to say,
Understand where you
yes,
got, because it is quite significant that you said the number seven. Because, like I said, there are 7 days in a week. The woman's menstrual cycle is a seven. The universe, the planets in the universe, in our solar system is seven. There are seven colors in a rainbow. So these are all uh, things that nature designed or God designed. Seven cycles. And so when you said you got your download, that is a download. And the fact that the download said seven makes complete sense to me. And this is another thing that um, people don't know or understand about the Khoisan. We have our belief is that we have a special relationship with God.
sure.
My belief is that we are um, the closest relative to Adam or Adam, however you wish to call him, because we
Yes,
are the first humans on this planet, or Homo sapiens, the form that we carry now, the ones who can think, the ones who can cook, the ones who can um, come up with a wheel or fire, or not even fire, but a civilization.
yes,
Because civilizations looks different for each and every group of people, depending on where you are. And Khoisan had a specific civilization where we did not consume too much. Therefore, our homes could be taken up and down. It is not something that we solidify into the earth, right? It was always in a dome shape.
yes, yes,
Yes. The roofs were always like a pyramid pointing to the sky. We lived in harmony with nature. Nature doesn't have squares in it, if you've noticed. There's no square leaf, there's no square flower, there's no square tree. So, this box effect that we have is
yes,
not part of.
yes,
We lived in nature, surrounded by nature. We mimicked nature. And so, because of this connection with God, we get what you call the downloads, revelation. Yes. And this is something that I would like to share with our audience and people who listen to us. That the Khoisan is the Khoisan is the beginning, and I think we are the answer to why the world is in such discord, disarray, why people suffer so with depression and anxiety and fear. It's because we are living outside of our God-like self, because we've stolen so much from God. We are now outside of our God. And we've been experiencing that for the last couple of decades since colonization, if we are going to be honest about it. Since
yes,
colonization, yes. When these people came and they exploited our land, they exploited what our mother, which is Africa. And we are in such abundance, Khoi believes, because we bow only to the one supreme God, and we do not overconsume, and we do not murder, not even animals. Once a year, there might be a sacrifice, but the meat will be distributed amongst the people. Henceforth, the Khoi had more livestock than
livestock,
you in their
yes,
tribe. So that is my understanding of our spirituality. and how we are now outside of that, and why people are suffering from depression, anxiety, fear, you know. And because Koi believed that um, the Great One in the sky will provide as long as you live in accordance with His laws. Do not steal from God, being one of them.
Yeah, I also um, would like to add on that our ourselves, we should go back to ourselves first, because if you connect with yourself as a person, there's so much within us, because we are one, like we are one with God. Like my co-host Sabiha said, we are relatives. We are the closest relatives to God.
Mm,
I believe
mm.
so as well. That God
Not the
listens
relatives
when
to
we
God,
speak.
but the relatives to Adam.
Yes, sorry to Adam.
No, no, that's
God,
okay.
God listens. God listens when we speak.
Mm,
God
mm.
listens. We
And
have
and
to
in
hear.
turn we listen. And in turn we listen to Him when He
Yes,
speaks.
yes, yes,
Sorry for interrupting your wisdom there, Jess.
yes. So we have to learn. In fact, I told some young ones, me and my co-host Sabiha, I call her my sister. So I will just say me and my sister, not because I need to call her that, because she is blood of my blood. And I told her last week, when I've read something on Facebook and I tagged her in it. In fact, I always say, or she always says, come listen to our children.
Mm,
Listen, and with that, what we mean by that is we are the beginning,
mm,
the Khoisan
mm,
people. We are the beginning. Everything started with us.
mm.
So that's how powerful we are.
Yeah. Yes. And it's sometimes very sad for me that our own people do not recognize who we are, what we are, because if you read about Khoisan history, it was genocide for most of us. The first Holocausts happened in Namibia and South Africa, where our tribes were murdered to nearly extinction. It is only by His grace and His mercy that we survive. Those of us who are now uh, uh, the children of the ancestors or the relatives, those of us who survive. And I think it is vitally important that we let the world know who we are, what our beliefs are. And like I said, I am a Muslim, but the reason why I believe so much is because the laws of the Khoi and what the Quran preaches resonates with me. And so
Mm,
does words and the messages from the Bible. These resonate with me. And so too the Torah. Because when I read all these books, I see African, I see Khoisan spirituality.
yes,
We worship the Supreme and the Supreme alone, the one God. which reigns supreme over everything else. Everything else is a creation. And again, therefore, stealing from God in that sense of um, taking more than what is needed, and then on top of that, not giving back, is something which the Quran also speaks of. It's something which the Bible also speaks of. That is why we follow these two religions, or most Khoisan follow these two religions, because it resonates with us.
Yes.
And if we are the first human beings, Khoisan, and like I've said before, and Adam is the first man, then our line is the prophet's lines. Our lines are the messenger's lines.
Mm.
Hmm. And so it would make sense that our connection and how strongly we connect, like Jess said, with the downloads, we recognize it. Oh, wait, hang on, sit still. This is a download happening or a revelation happening. And the revelation doesn't need to be specifically so profound. It might just be, don't go in that direction.
Yes.
And being able to explain to you, I just got a download, I just got a revelation. Do not go in that direction. And I myself say personally that when people ask, so a lot of people ask me, so how do I know it's God? How do I know if I hear this thing, how do I know it's God? And I always say, your gut will tell you, because your gut is God. If your gut gives you a funny feeling, that's God. That is how you
Yes.
know. Yes. Because God speaks to, and because of the work that I do, I'm a biokineticist by profession. Um, I also study nutrition. And there are two receptors coming from the stomach all the way up to the brain. So it makes sense that our brain and our gut is connected. So if the message comes in through the crown, the stomach will feel it because there's a connection there. Mm.
Um, if I may say something, someone asked me a few weeks back about that gut feeling.
Mm.
And for some people, I've learned that for some people it can be very confusing, or that's what they say. Then I had to advise that specific person that to be in tune with yourself is to be in tune with God.
Yes.
And I also advise that person just what you said, Sabiha, about listen to your gut. So after you pray or manifest or whatever you do, that very first answer, that is the answer.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. That is gut. That is that. So if you are going through something and you are thinking, how should I get myself out of the situation? You will come up with ideas. And the very first idea, that is gut, that is God. Then I tell people also, you must hold on to that feeling.
That
Hold on,
yes.
because after that is when the negative and the, what I would call Iblis or the devil, or the one
Mm,
who sows discord, division,
yes. Yes.
comes in and tries to um, confuse and manipulate the message. But those of
It,
us who connect with ourselves, who are, like you said, in tune with ourselves, we recognize that that was a message from the Most High and block out, cancel these other thoughts that are coming. And so the more you practice that, the better you become at trusting yourself, trusting your gut. But it has to start with trusting yourself first.
Yes.
Because in our Rasta brothers and sisters say I and I. I and I meaning God and I.
Hmm.
Hmm. And so if we are connected with ourselves, with I connects with I and I. So the connection and how we connect with God and through what mechanisms we connect through God um, is something that the Khoi have practiced since the beginning of time. Mm.
So I want us to elaborate more on the 777 of today.
Mm.
I want us to guide our people more into, because I've listened today to a video. There's still a 5 day, so
Cycle.
shall I say period, that's going on from this day. So 4 days from now on, you can still manifest, pray.
Yes. Yes.
So I would
Yes.
like us to enlighten our people a little bit more,
Mm.
to start as of from tonight after the show, how to go about the 777 that's happening right now,
I
if I
have
may.
to admit, I have to admit I am quite a novice when it comes to numerology.
Mm,
I've only recently started looking at the numbers, so I'm not
yeah.
an expert as yet. What I do know, however, is numbers have always played a great part in the universe. Um, when we look at our books, the Quran, the Bible, there are numbers there. And these numbers correlate with specific verses. And if you find that verse or that meaning, you'll find something with a similar number. So somehow the numbers are always working. Like I said, even the universe, these how God has made seven a cycle,
Yes.
and so 777, which is tonight, as I explained earlier, it is the 25. So you add up numbers to get a certain number because numbers run from 1 to 9.
9. Yes.
Those are the numbers that you run from because zero means nothing unless you put a one next to it. Now you make it a number. So we don't count zero. Zero only gets amplified if there's a one or a nine in front or behind, or you can put 1,000 zeros. If there's not a one, it means just 1,000 zeros, nothings. So we count, so the numbers work from 1 to 9. And so each number has a specific message, if I can put it that way. We are
Yes.
talking about tonight is, so if you add, today's the 25th, if you add 5 plus 2, you must get a single digit number, which is 7. So it's the 7th day of the 7th month, which is July 2023. If you add up 23 plus 2, if you add up 3, 2, and 2, you get to 7. So it makes 777.
Yes.
And 7 is a powerful number in the sense of what those what the experts say. What the experts say. Like I
Yes.
said, I'm still in love. What the experts say is 7 is when you manifest, when you bring to light, when you don't chase something, you speak it into existence.
Yes.
For example, in Africa, when we plant seeds, when it is time for harvesting, that is when we are on our prayers. We've already planted the seed. Now we want that seed to grow. So God send the water. God make the land fruitful. God let the weather be right. We start manifesting.
Yes.
We don't go look every 5 minutes how the seed is doing. No, you are on your prayers. And so 7 means be on your manifesting, creating your abundance or creating whatever you want. This is an African um, way of thinking. It is not just for Khoi, it is an African way of thinking. Like when you want something to happen, you don't chase it, you manifest it, you pray for it.
Yes.
And so tonight being 7, 3 times, 777, we should be manifesting whatever it is that you want in your life. The thing with 7 though is whatever you manifest is what you will get, according to the experts in numerology. Whatever you manifest, you will get. So manifesting something negative, for example, Sally would say, uh, I'm so broke, I never have money. The universe hears, or the great one hears, and it will give you that. I'm broke, I never have money. Because that is what you
Yes.
manifest.
Yes. Yes.
But if you manifest whatever it is that you want, love, abundance, family, business, whatever it is that you want, now is the time to do so because we are in a 777 alignment. If that answers the question, yes. But like I said, I'm
Yes.
still a novice. I'm still a novice. I stand corrected. How I bring it in is how Khoi have always, or Africans as a whole, we understood if you wanted success, you go on your prayers. You go on your manifest.
Yes.
You don't chase nothing.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. That is how
Thank you
I've.
for that. Yeah.
So the thing with if I can just elaborate on that, but the thing with Khoi is we've always known to ask God, spirituality, as we're coming back to that. We've always known to ask God for whatever. It is when we started begging the colonizers. I think that was when we lost the connection because we are not supposed to do that. The only thing we should beg to, the only thing we should bow to is God.
Yes.
And so living this life of over consuming everything. We overconsume food. We overconsume um,
Uncle.
uh, alcohol. We overconsume television. We overconsume material things. We overconsume. We are a civil. We have literally become the worst consumers on this ever in the history of
And we
mankind.
we have a lot of in our society today. What I've what I've seen is we have a lot of negative talks in groups,
Mm.
while our great parents, our great ancestors, I call them great because they were great. It's my way of saying thank you tonight for your greatness. Thank you for teaching us the way. Sorry if we overlooked, if we denied you, because we denied them by denying ourselves. And I want to add about the negative talks, beginning with negative self talks, because
Mm.
we were taught by the colonizers to hate ourselves.
Mm.
So if we could only come back to self and make peace with who we are and how we look like, because for me, we are unique. We are beautiful people. So that is also part of what you've just mentioned, Sabiha, about the what we did. We overconsume, or we
We broke the law
consume.
from God.
Yes,
Mm. Um,
yeah,
not tonight, but very soon I want to discuss the pineal gland and how recently I've discovered that, or I've heard that our pineal glands can also be calcified, which I thought was not possible because um, we are electrical beings. Melanin conducts electricity faster, or this color is a faster conductor of electricity. And so I never thought that our pineal glands could get calcified. We know that during World War II, when um, scientists took uh, the dead bodies of these black and white people, cut into their brains because they had a lot of bodies, I suppose they could work with, and found that white people's pineal glands or the Europeans' pineal glands are calcified. Now, if your pineal gland is calcified, we believe the connection comes through the pineal gland and everything else travels through there. And if something is calcified, it is hard, it is not a conductor. And how? Because we've stolen from God, how that pineal gland has calcified, which also makes it hard for the connection to happen between us and God. Now, I'm just talking black here. I'm just talking African here. I'm just talking Kemet here. I'm just talking melanin here.
yes,
And how to break that calcification apart so that the connection once again becomes clear. And we can listen and we can hear and we can understand. Because it is the ploy of the devil, isn't it? To divide and conquer and to
yes,
confuse.
yes,
And the best way to do that is probably to switch off the connection with God. You are in utter confusion, you have no guidance. Mm.
mm,
But like
yeah,
I said, for a later discussion, it's just how why it is so hard for our people to connect and to understand who we are and what we are. Because if you look at it, really, there were three groups. Like I said, it was the Negroids, which is us, the Mongoloids, which is Asia, and
the
the Caucasians.
focus. Yes,
We were the ones who survived. We were the ones who started humans, so Homo sapiens at least, and then went out into the world and, can I say, fornicated with the rest,
Yes.
then bred a human species of them, Homo sapiens of them. But we are the ones who evolved. We are the ones who made the connection. And because we could make the connection, we were inspired like Adam, like Adam. We could be inspired.
Yes. I think we should also talk about that on the next show on how we should not um like you said fornicate with them.
To each their own, to each their own. But I would never,
Mm,
because I understand how energy works
mm.
and what my energy does to them and what their energy does to us.
Yes.
Just so beautifully you say, um, my enemy, say that saying that you always tell me. How can my enemy tell me to love my enemy?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
How can my enemy tell me to love my enemy?
Yes.
It's for me it's not possible
No,
to bow
it's
to that.
love. You can't love. You can
No.
forgive maybe, but love, no, because you are my enemy, and for you it is to destroy me. And by by history, by your actions, you have shown. Dr. Phil, who is a white psychiatrist, psychologist, whatever he says it so aptly. He says, how do you judge somebody's future? How do you judge what they are going to do? You look at their past.
Mm.
And your past tells me you are not for me. You actually want
Yes.
to, you came to destroy me. You are destructive to me.
Yes.
But again, our, I remember when apartheid ended, and there was a lot of Caucasians who flew. They went to New Zealand, they went to Australia, they went to America, they went back to England. And I then understood that they were afraid that we would do to them what they did to us.
Yes.
That is why they fled. But we are a more, we are a supreme, we are supreme to them in a sense of understanding the universe and God and nature and how things work. So we could never stoop to that level. And I think that is why they still have so much control over Africa. It's not that they are smarter than us, they are just more brutal than us. But our spirituality has always saved us. We've
Yes.
always asked for salvation and resurrection. And from the onslaught was to such a magnitude that it is only by a miracle and the grace of God that we survive. Because the onslaught was horrific. They came with guns, they came with disease, smallpox, and after that it was slavery. So it is only because of our spirituality and our connection with God that we survive, I believe. And we are here to tell our story.
Mm.
I don't know if you want to elaborate or if you want to say something on that. Yes. We are about to end off the show.
Yes, I think I will leave it here for tonight. But if you still have something to say, yeah. But for me, I am, like you said, on the next show we will elaborate more on the pineal gland.
Mm,
I would love to add on the enemy what I've just said about. For me, it's impossible to listen to my oppressor telling me about God.
mm, mm.
I
And now
cannot
I.
listen to that.
Mm,
I cannot listen to that because how can you come and tell me about the love of God while you put something around my ancestors' neck to strangle them with? How can I listen to you?
mm,
So it all comes down to how can my enemy tells me to love my enemy?
mm, mm.
Because you did
Makes sense.
that, like Miss Sabiha said, you you did the most horrible things to them. How can you come and preach about the love of God to me? I cannot listen to you.
Mm, mm,
It's
mm.
impossible. For
So
me,
we
it's
must.
impossible.
Impossible. That is why it is so imperative that we start listening to one another and we start connecting with one another so
Yes.
that we can understand truth and not falsehood. Because Africans as a whole, we understand God. We've always worshipped. God is a new concept to Europeans. God is a new concept to Europeans. It started with us.
Mm.
Our people were the prophets. The Bible even says Jesus had woolly hair and his feet were the color of copper, which is brown. So, how can you teach me about God when it was my people that were chosen to bring a message? There wasn't one single European that was ever a messenger. Nobody came from England, nobody came from France, nobody came from Switzerland, not even in the Asians. There's no prophet in the Asian communities either. Buddha was not an
Mm.
Asian. Buddha was a black man, he had cornrows. Not cornrows, gosh, now I can't get to the style. Bantu knots.
The knots, yeah.
He wasn't Asian, he was black. So how can anything else that has a people who, or these others who God has sent no prophets from, no messengers from. How can you teach me about God when God chose my people to be the messengers and the prophets?
Mm.
Why must I listen to your understanding and to your belief when God didn't even choose you? He chose me. Should I not
Mm.
then listen to my own when it comes to
Mm.
God and spirituality?
Mm. Because when I'm listening to you, I'm listening to myself. When you are listening to me, viewers, you listen to yourself because we are
Mm,
one. Remember that.
mm, mm. And truth
Mm.
resonates with us. Truth resonates with us. Our people, when we talk, um, as you know, Jess, I sometimes talk to people about these things. We had
Yes.
in just in this week two of our people that we spoke to.
Yes.
And immediately it resonated with them. And they said, yes, we believe.
Mm.
And I will go and honor God
Mm.
and manifest, speak it into existence, speak it into life.
Existence.
It is as
Yes.
simple as that. They wanted to kill all of us. We spoke ourselves back into existence. Lord, help. Father, help.
Yes. Yes.
Because if it was up to them, we would have all been dead, I suppose. It's by the
Mm.
grace of God and our
Mm.
manifestations, our spirituality, our connection. So you are blessed and highly favored, my people. Blessed and highly favored. Never forget.
Yes.
You are blessed
Yes.
and highly favored. Above all
Yes.
else, above all the rest, you are blessed and highly favored.
Yes.
Mm.
May
Jessica, on
may
that note,
yes. May it be well with us. May this go as far as it may.
God
May
willing,
God go
God
before us, my
willing,
people.
oh, God willing. Inshallah, 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 God willing.
Mm.
Yes, we've extended our time a little bit, but the conversation was interesting. I hope our viewers will enjoy it as much as we have,
Yes.
and that we brought some insight. And like my Rastafarian brother says, I hope you overstand,
Overstanding.
not
Yes.
under, you go over. Yes, overstand.
Yes.
Yes, and I hope well, I'm going to ask our audience, whoever is watching tonight, seeing that the portals are open, please like, please subscribe, please share,
Yes.
tell people about us. We are a rich people and we have knowledge and understanding, and we'd love to share for those who are interested. Jessica,
With that note, that my lovely sister said, I also want to say thank you so much for watching our channel. Like she said, please like, subscribe, and share. And thank you so much once again for checking on us. God bless.
God bless. God bless. God bless. So, on that note, goodbye, Jess. We'll talk soon.
Bye, Zaliha. Okay.